Hi, welcome to another PCS Legal video. So today we're going to be talking about Japanese knotweed. So Japanese knotweed is a fast growing and strong clump forming perennial that grows to a depth of 3 metres with sometimes a radius up to 7 metres. Although originally introduced to Britain as an ornamental garden plant, it is an invasive non-native species. It is estimated that 1.45 million homes are affected by this weed in the UK. So its history. The plant was introduced into the UK by the Victorians, who thought it would look good in their gardens, with its red shoots and heart-shaped green leaves adorning any herbaceous border in the spring and summer. It's easy to see why the plant was once considered attractive. It grows up to 2 centimetres a day before dying in the winter. The Victorians, however, quickly turned against their new favourite plant when they realised just how destructive it can be.
What does it look like and what does it do? Many people are unsure of what the plant looks like, making identifying it difficult. Due to its unassuming appearance, some similar plants include bamboo and field bindweed. It can go easily undetected. Above ground, it looks fairly nondescript. It's green with heart-shaped leaves and bamboo-like stems, sometimes blooming white spiky flowers. Underground is a different matter. The roots burrow down for almost 3 metres and spread up to 7 metres, seeking out weaknesses in any building and growing through walls, through drains, through floors. They can cause thousands of pounds worth of damage. This means that this plant not only affects the health of your garden, but your entire property. If roots are virtually impossible to remove yourself, without the use of extreme chemicals.
What impact does Japanese knotweed have? Well, the presence of this non-native weed can feel like a negative impact on homeowners. However, the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors has published a new guidance note for surveyors that have abolished the 7 metre rule value as used when determining whether Japanese knotweed poses a threat to a property. This industry body has published a 36-page guidance note that reflects an improved understanding of Japanese knotweed, which can sometimes make a mortgage application or selling a property more difficult. The guidance states research has demonstrated and is now generally accepted that Japanese knotweed poses little or no risk of structural damage to robust buildings with substantial foundations, such as dwellings, as opposed to perhaps those less sturdy structures with shallow foundations, such as conservatories, garages, or boundary walls. So the extent of the damage it can cause is completely down to how well your property is built.
How to deal with Japanese knotweed. Getting rid of it is expensive and can take sometimes up to 3 years. Because it grows so rapidly, it's important to deal with as soon as you possibly can before it invades other buildings, especially nowadays since a landmark ruling has allowed UK homeowners to sue their neighbours if Japanese knotweed ends up on their land. So it's perhaps not surprising that the presence of this destructive weed can knock several percent off the value of the property, possibly even up to 10%. Eliminating it involves spraying the plant with glyphosate-based weed killer, then digging right down to the ends of the roots, letting it dry and burning it. It must not be disposed of in household or garden waste, as it will come back to life and start spreading again. This means expert help and coordinated plan, often with neighbours, is usually the best approach. It is possible to eliminate it, but you need to do it properly. The whole process needs to be repeated annually until there is no evidence of regrowth, and that is why it takes some time. It can lie dormant beneath the ground for up to 20 years with no sign of growth. It also takes on a completely new appearance if chemicals have been applied in it to attempt to killing it, making it a lot harder to recognise.
What do you do if you find Japanese knotweed? Japanese knotweed is not covered by most general insurance policies. So if you find it growing near or in your property and have to have it removed, you'll most likely have to take out a special knotweed indemnity policy to mitigate against damage from potential future attacks. These policies provide cover for the cost of the treatment and any damage caused by the plant, third-party legal fees in case the plant spread onto neighbouring land, and a devaluation of the property.
So should you buy a house with Japanese knotweed? Well, estate agents are all too aware of the potential problems caused by invasive plant species such as Japanese knotweed, with a number of sales falling through over the years. It was estimated last year that Japanese knotweed had wiped an estimated 11.8 billion off of the UK housing market as the invasive plant continues to spread across the country, making homes much more difficult to sell. Buyers may view it as an opportunity to negotiate the price, but at the same time take into account the costs involved in the hassle that you'll have removing it. If you are selling, you are duty bound to inform a buyer that the property suffers or has knotweed.
Sellers have to disclose information if they are aware of Japanese knotweed. In January 2023, a seller who misrepresented the presence of Japanese knotweed on their £700,000 London property was successfully sued over £200,000. Jeremy Henderson sold his Rains Park property to Jonathan Downing in 2018. Henderson stated at the time there was no Japanese knotweed on the property. He had answered no to the question regarding knotweed on the T86 property information form. Downing, having planned to build a workshop in the back garden, subsequently discovered knotweed canes behind a bush next to a shed in the said garden. Downing subsequently and successfully sued the seller for misrepresentation. There's also legislation under the Anti-Social Behaviour, Crime and Policing Act that specifically refers to a landowner who allows, whether intentionally or a lack of due care, Japanese knotweed to spread onto neighbouring land. And allowing Japanese knotweed to grow in the wild or planting Japanese knotweed will find a homeowner guilty under the Wildlife and Countryside Act of 1981, liable for a fine up to £5,000.
If you have any doubt about Japanese knotweed, you need to speak to the environmental agency or contact a specialist removal company. If you're in the process of buying a property, please contact your conveyancer to ask further questions regarding knotweed in relation to the legal process. We hope you have found this video helpful. If so, please like and subscribe for more conveyancing content in the future.